Hey, what's up everybody? Animal has nothing to do with this video, I just think he's cool. And already I can see you disliking my video. Alright, so I'm going to do my top 25 favorite video games of the 90s. I love doing these kinds of lists, although this was really hard. I could have put like 50. There's so many games that could get in here, but didn't. And before the haters hate, this is just my list. I say they're the best and they're my favorite. To me it's the same because there's no objective best. There will be some normal games in there that you would expect, some you wouldn't, some that would annoy people that they're not included, some that would annoy people that they are. So let's get started. Okay, number 25 is Snatcher for the Sega CD. I'm aware this is a cheat pick. It was technically released in the 80s in Japan and whatnot, but the North American release was on Sega CD. It was a little different with some censorship and whatnot, so it wasn't, wouldn't have been as good. But Snatcher's just a really solid, overlooked game by the genius Hideo Kojima. Good story, a little different than what we see now, obviously. Good music, good pretty much everything. I never got to play it when it was first released, but I played it over the last couple of years. Okay, so number 24, Grim Fandango for the PC. I haven't been a PC gamer most of my life. I gotta throw that out there. I almost didn't want to include PC games in here because it'll be so grossly, not represented. But there are a couple. Grim Fandango, a point-and-click adventure with an amazing art style. I'm not even a fan of point-and-click adventure genre as a whole. It's not my favorite genre to go to. I do like some games in it, and a lot of them tend to have good stories compared to other genres, at least. Grim Fandango is one of them. Has an amazing story, amazing art style, good sense of humor, everything. Number 23, Tenchu Stealth Assassins for the PS1. I remember playing this and I thought it was just so much fun being able to be a ninja, go up behind people, slit their throats, use stealth. I just thought it was a lot of fun. Number 22, Saturday Night Slam Masters for the SNES. This is probably the first real big WTF moment, but it's just like an arcade side-scrolling wrestling game. It's not really a wrestling game so much. It has wrestlers, but you pretty much just fight. And there are wrestling moves. I just think it's really, really good characters, really interesting characters. A lot of fun with a friend. I rented this game constantly growing up. Number 21, Planescape Torment for the PC. Another game that I never played when it was first released, but I've played over the last few years. What can you say about this? It's got a great story, great writing, great visuals, great everything. Just a great game. Number 20, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time for the SNES. The Nintendo ones are good. They're really good. Even the first one, except for, the water level. But I've always just kind of been partial. Maybe it's because SNES was more my system. Because, I'm almost 27, so SNES was, right there for me. So I've always really liked that. Number 19, Dragon View for the SNES. It's a sequel to Draken. This is very overlooked. You walk around kind of a first-person view in the world map and whatnot. But then when you go into dungeons and stuff, it goes into a side-scrolling beat-em-up type of thing, and it's an RPG. I just think the game was really good, and there's a scene in it which I won't explain here because I don't want to use up the whole video that will always stick in my mind. So I'm a big fan of Dragon View. Number 18, Secret of Mana for the SNES. Seems like a tragedy that it's only 18 because it's so good. It's a lot of fun with a friend, although the ring system to use your spells where it kind of pauses the game while you select your spells kind of a little outdated at this point. But it was still a fantastic game then, and it's a fantastic game now. You gotta play with a friend. Or two. If you have them. I don't. Number 16. Or no, sorry, number 17. I can't count. Super Smash Brothers for the N64. This would probably be even a little bit higher if I could include, like, Brawl, because it's one of the best fighting games ever, but Super Smash Brothers was amazing. Still is. Just really fun seeing all the a bunch of Nintendo characters fighting it out, and it's really chaotic and cool and awesome and all the other... yeah, whatever. Number 16, King Arthur's World for the SNES, another overlooked game. It's kind of like a side-scrolling strategy game where you move your troops and you got to pretty much invade like the other side of the map, and you walk slowly. And I'm not really doing it any justice explaining it. Just check out a trailer, or better yet, check out the game, because it's really amazing. Number 15, Lufia 2, Rise of the Sinistrals for the SNES. Another game that seems like a crime that it's even that high, but then when you think about it, I have it as number 15 game in a decade of gaming, so that's pretty good. I'm a big Lufia fan. I even really like the first one because it starts out really epic, but this one hits in like an emotional high, and they do improve upon the gameplay of the first a lot. But play both. I haven't played the DS one. I think it was DS. But anyway, Lufia 2, really good stuff. Even though you know what's going to happen at the end, it's still incredible. And that's pretty high praise. Number 14, Star Ocean, the second story for PS1. I love the fact that you can put like points and stuff into like cooking and do all that other shit. I love that. And other Star Oceans that I've played don't have that, and it's disappointing. The battle system was amazing at its time and still a lot of fun today. Not turn-based, it's just chaotic. Star Ocean's such a good game. Number 13, WCW and NWO Revenge for the N64. I'm a huge pro wrestling fan. I'll be making videos about it in the future probably. I kind of like the roster and World Tour more, and it was more influential, but Revenge is a technically better game because they've improved upon a lot of things outside of like the roster, even though the roster is really good in Revenge too, don't get me wrong. These N64 wrestling games were amazing. Number 12, Genghis Khan 2, Clan of the Grey Wolf for the SNES. Me and my older brother played this a lot. There are more complicated strategy games, but for my money, there isn't better. It does everything really well. It's slick, like the presentation is slick. It's not real hard to get into but the battle systems are, like the battle system is really cool. Like when your main little unit gets in a fight, it actually changes view and you control the troops or whatever. So good. Number 11, Super Metroid for the SNES. I don't have to tell you anything. Really have to tell you anything. You can beat this game in like 3 hours, or maybe fewer if you're better than me. I could beat it in like 3 or 4. It's the best Metroid. I even really like the other M, because it's a lot like this one. I like it more than Prime, even though she does talk. That doesn't bother me. But Super Metroid is incredible. Always will be incredible. Number 10, General Chaos for the Genesis. The first Genesis game, and it's number 10. For my money, I think this is one of the best multiplayer games ever made. And I keep saying for my money a lot. I don't have any money. But yeah, you just control, like it's really meant to be played with someone. You just control a couple army guys, like a machine gun guy, a TNT guy, a bazooka guy. And all you do is you're on the map. And the map doesn't move, it's just like one screen. And you just fight it out with the other team, and there's like 4 or 5 of you. And you just fight it out, and you can call in medics. It's an amazing game. I would kill for a sequel, unless there's been a sequel that I don't know of. Number 9, The Lost Vikings for SNES. Another one of the best multiplayer games ever. You play as 3 Vikings. Has a great soundtrack, by the way. But you play as 3 Vikings. They all can do different things. One can fight, one can jump and run, and one can use a shield and kind of float. And you got to solve puzzles using that. I know there's been sequels, but I haven't played them. But Lost Vikings is incredible. Release a new one right now. Number 8, Ogre Battle for the SNES. A strategy RPG where in the combat you don't even necessarily do anything. You just kind of tell them to attack the best, the lead or whatever, and you just watch. But this is a game that keeps giving because there's so much stuff in this game, so much content. Number 7, WWF WrestleMania 2000 N64. The best wrestling game ever made. Saying that right there. Just throwing it out there. Best wrestling game ever made. Number 6, FF7 for the PS1. And before I go on, the next like 4 games, you could change them around and I would have no problem. But FF7 for PS1 is probably the best Final Fantasy story ever. Great materia system. Classic. It's both the, you know, there's a reason it's seen as both the best game and the most overrated game of all time. It's an amazing game. Number 5, FF6 for SNES. I've played this the most. I gave it the nod. There's like a million characters in it, and most of them are interesting. And there's a lot of secrets, and it's dark as hell, and something happens halfway through, which I won't ruin it for some reason you haven't played it, that most games would not even dare to attempt. A lot of big surprises. Great characters. Number 4, Chrono Trigger for the SNES. Loved the battle system. Loved how they just whipped out their weapons right there and fought. A lot of games didn't do that. A lot of games don't do that now, really. Although more do, but back then it was amazing. Great art style, great music, great plot, great characters, everything. Number 3, Earthbound for the SNES. One of the quirkiest RPGs ever made. Great soundtrack. Could be darker than people think. Funny. You know, even though the battle system looks like an old Nintendo game, it works for it. So whatever. Number 2, my favorite RPG of all time, Parasite Eve for the PS1. This game scared the shit out of me when I was, you know, growing up and I first played it. Love the battle system. You know, Aya is a great character, great story, great like sci-fi story. Yes, they take some liberties with the story, like the sci-fi aspect, like mitochondria, but they make it work. It's really interesting. I've seen the movie. I've read the book. Love Parasite Eve so much. Oh, but by the way, great soundtrack too. And number 1, Metal Gear Solid for the PS1. I'm kind of running out of time here, but the Metal Gear series is my favorite series of all time. Amazing characters. It's weird. It's artistic, but it still remembers it's a game. You know, good soundtrack, of course. A lot of memorable scenes. You can play the Twin Snakes, and I think it updates like I think you can move the camera in Twin Snakes. That's the only thing that's a little outdated, and the fact that the other ones play a little bit better than Metal Gear Solid. But for my money, Metal Gear Solid probably has the best individual story of any of them. Metal Gear Solid's amazing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You can probably see what system I played the most in this and what genre I played a lot of in the 90s. But yeah, tell me what you think. Even link me to your own, you know, top 25 if you got it. This was a really hard list to make. I'm probably going to put honorable mentions, a lot of them in the description. So yeah, peace out.